This is for Unit 3 for your rhetoric unit over parallelism. So here is parallelism defined. It is the sentence structure which places equal grammatical structures near each other, or it repeats patterns of 2 or more times. It also could involve 2 or 3 words in a row or repeated beginnings of longer sentences. So you'll see the same portion of a sentence repeated multiple times, maybe changing 1 or 2 words. The author might repeat a preposition or a verbal phrase, and it's used to add emphasis, organization, and sometimes just pacing to a persuasive speech. Here are some examples. Charles Dickens' novel, A Tale of Two Cities, begins with, "It was the best of times, it was the worst of times, it was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness." And as you see, it's got it was, and the whole rhythm is repeated, and that would be parallelism. Julius Caesar, I came, I saw, I conquered. Just the same rhythm again. They changed the one word with each listing there, but I came, I saw, I conquered. That would be another example of parallelism.
So, types of parallel structure that we're going to focus on in sophomore year are anaphora, polysyndeton, asyndeton, which we have already talked about in conjunction with the Martin Luther King speech. But we're going to add right now tricolon and antithesis. So those are going to be new to you right now.
So using your notes sheet, you should have that out now. Let's go ahead and look at anaphora, which we have before, but anaphora is defined as the same word or words used at the beginning of a clause, a sentence, a line, or paragraph. So you're going to see the same word or words used repetitively. It lends to a rhythm of a speech, and it really intensifies the emotions. For example, singing the song of procreation, singing the need of superb children, and therein superb grown people, singing the muscular urge and the blending. So they've used the word singing, superb children, superb grown people, singing. So all of that there shows us the anaphora, the repetition that we need to zero in on and ask ourselves, why did the author do that? Polysyndeton is putting the same conjunction between every item in a list or clauses. It increases the urgency and the power. It creates a steady cadence within the text. We have an army and soldiers and tanks and planes. We listen to hear screams and cries and howls of rage. So the repetition of the word and, using and with every comma, is called polysyndeton. And then again, ask yourself, why did the author do this?
Okay, the third type of parallel structure that we've already talked about is asyndeton. So this should become familiar to you. It is defined as leaving out conjunctions in a list or between clauses. So it is the opposite of polysyndeton. Okay, the purpose is often to make the list appear spontaneous, and without all those conjunctions, the list builds movement and becomes faster, and it gets a different type of rhythm, faster one. Here's a couple examples. He was tall, dark, and handsome. Tall, dark, handsome. No and. They sat under one roof, princes, dukes, barons, earls, kings. Do you see how it speeds up? That's what asyndeton can do for you. Here's a new one we haven't talked about yet, tricolon. Tricolon is defined as a series of 3 parallel words, phrases, or clauses. Note up here the word or the prefix tri. Okay, for 3. The purpose of tricolon is to create simple and potent and powerful structure. The reason we often use 3 is just because it sounds right to us, it's comfortable. You know, I was writing a resume for some recommendation for somebody, and I had 2 adjectives to describe them, and it just didn't feel complete, so I had to come up with a third to have a tricolon. Here's a good example from Franklin Roosevelt. First of all, let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself, nameless, unreasoning, unjustified terror which paralyzes needed efforts to convert retreat into advance. So you can see, there's the tricolon. It's 3 parallel words. Antithesis. It looks like antithesis, but it's antithesis. This is defined as the opposition of or contrast of ideas. The direct opposite. This is used to show opposition for effect, and it also adds emphasis. Here's our example. Though studious, he was popular. Though argumentative, he was modest. Though inflexible, he was candid. And though metaphysical, yet orthodox. So we have he was this, but that. This, but that. So opposites, the contrast of ideas. Antithesis. All right, at this point, we're going to take a practice quiz, and Mrs. Stevenson will guide you through that.
All right, so let's go ahead and try out the practice quiz. Please write these answers on the given spots on your notes page. Yesterday, the Japanese government also launched an attack against Malaya. Last night, Japanese forces attacked Hong Kong. Last night, Japanese forces attacked Guam. Last night, Japanese forces attacked the Philippine Islands. Last night, Japanese attacked Wake Island. And this morning, the Japanese attacked Midway Island. Please select one of the following answers: anaphora, polysyndeton, asyndeton, tricolon, antithesis. If you selected A, anaphora, you are correct, where it repeats last night in every portion of the text. Thank you. He comes, he sleeps, he goes. So the plot thickens. Anaphora, polysyndeton, asyndeton, tricolon, or antithesis. If you selected asyndeton, you are correct. There are no conjunctions between he comes, he sleeps, he goes. It's just listed directly with commas in between, so that would be asyndeton. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle, and creeping thing, and beast of the earth after his kind." And it was so. And God made the beast of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good. Is this anaphora, polysyndeton, asyndeton, tricolon, or antithesis? If you picked polysyndeton, you are correct. The repetition of the conjunction or fanboy of and makes this polysyndeton. Let us never negotiate out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate. Anaphora, polysyndeton, asyndeton, tricolon, antithesis. If you picked antithesis, you would be correct. You are talking to a man who has laughed in the face of death, sneered at doom, and chuckled at catastrophe. Is this anaphora, polysyndeton, asyndeton, tricolon, or antithesis? If you pick tricolon, you would be correct. So you should understand parallelism a little bit better than you did before, and now you can apply it to your class assignment for Unit 3. Please refer to your unit instructions in the packet provided for you.